Minus the trappings of a cabinet position, the former business secretary arrived at John Moores ahead of his Roscoe lecture. His blunt approach as former deputy leader of the Liberal Democrats undimmed, he promised the student audience controversy as he tackled Brexit and the North-South divide.
Brexit, it's happening. We've got to live with the realities. We've got to try and see some of the positive potential. But, you know, the brutal truth is it's very difficult to see much of an upside, and it's possible to see a lot of potential problems. I mean, if you take some of the big industries around here, I mean, there's the car industry, Ellesmere Port, you've got JLR and General Motors, big producers with a big supply chain, so, you know, some of the big, particularly the manufacturing industries, their future is uncertain. We just don't know what's going to happen.
He spelt out a gloomy future for the north of England, accusing the government of losing interest in its pledge for a northern powerhouse.
I mean, to be very brutal, I mean, the Tories' power base isn't in the north of England. It isn't in the northern cities, which are either Labour or Lib Dem or even UKIP to some extent. They're not conservative, and they have no vested interest here politically, so they're not as committed as they should be. I think the one big issue, which I think you have to keep pushing, is HS3, getting this link across from Liverpool to Hull via Manchester and Sheffield, a proper trans-Pennine connection. Because unless that exists, all this talk about Northern Powerhouse will just be a bit academic.
But there was an acknowledgement to his audience that Sir Vince doesn't always get things right. In particular, the Lib Dems about turn on tuition fees.
I could have made it a lot less than 9,000, but the only way to do that would have been to take the money away from the FE colleges and to cripple those colleges. And, you know, those are people who can't go to university. They're, you know, the 60% who don't go to university, and that would have been monstrously unfair because they're at a disadvantage relative to universities. So, you know, it was painful, it was difficult. I've always said I think we made a poor job of explaining to students that the world has changed. After the financial crisis, governments were bankrupted. They simply couldn't do what they'd promised to do. And, you know, we say we lost the political argument, but I think what was done was right.
And whilst he may have lost the student vote, his performance on the Strictly Come Dancing special received a more positive vote.
Yeah, it was good. I got 10 from Len. And since then, even when I was in the cabinet, I kept my weekly dancing lesson going, and I now do competitions. I go to Blackpool every few months to the Winter Gardens or whatever. It's quite hard, actually, competitive dancing. I don't know if you've ever tried it. It's very hard.
This applause for his politics, as he won't be tripping after air balls anytime soon. Kerry Fitzpatrick, Liverpool Life reports.